everyone, it's Maya back again with another video. I am going to share with you the books that I picked up from the library in the past couple of weeks. I have 10 books with me currently. And I'm that kind of person that just gets really excited when they go to the library, so I just see all these books that I would like to read. I may not get through all of these in the amount of time that I have with them, but I'm going to do my best. Yes. The first one that I'm going to show you guys is The Catcher in the Rye. And I emphasized in because I used to think that it was Catcher and the Rye, but no, it is in the Rye. And this is by J.D. Salinger, and I've heard so many good things about this book. I've heard that it is one of those quintessential books within the adolescent / young adult experience, so I thought that I would get my hands on it, read it, and form my own opinions on it. Now, I wasn't allowed to read this book when I was younger, so I probably am on the older side to be reading this for the first time, but I'm super pumped about it regardless. I was actually talking to a friend of mine a few weeks ago, and she told me that this is her all-time favorite book, and she actually reads this every year. And she does not give stamps of approval very easily, so for her to give this book high praise, I knew that it was something that I needed to pick up. The next book that I have is I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. Another classic. I can't say why I've waited so long to read this, but I was just going through one of those book lists. I think it was on BuzzFeed, and they had a checklist of literary classics, and I'm going through the list and I come across this one. I was like, oh my gosh, I've never read this book, so I am going to read this. The next book that I have is slightly different than the majority of the books that are here, and this is actually a city guide, and that is this book on San Diego, and this is by Ian Anderson, and it's just a guide book that tells you about the great places to go to, where to eat, where to explore, period. And since I am going to be going there, that's still weird for me to say that, I am going to be going there for school in the fall, I thought it would be a good idea just to get some ideas of what to do while I'm out there. So yeah, this next book, I feel like it's going to be a bit much, but I've been really interested in reading this book, so I'm definitely going to give it a go, and that is The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Now, with this book, to my understanding, this speaks a lot about mental health, mental illness, and just the main character's story of how she navigates through that. I think the thing where I know it's going to be tough is because I'm aware that the author unfortunately passed young in life, and so it'll just be interesting to read that character's take on things, knowing that the author may have been dealing with the same things. I don't know if that makes sense, what I'm saying, but yes, The Bell Jar, it's fairly short. I'm just looking at it and I feel like I'm gonna go through this quickly, or it's gonna be the first one that I actually end up finishing reading, but we shall see how that goes. The next book that I picked up is David and Goliath by Malcolm Gladwell, and on the cover it says that it's about underdogs, misfits, and the art of battling giants. And I remember watching a video where he was explaining David and Goliath, the story that many of us have heard from the Bible at a young age, and it was just eye-opening to hear a new perspective on a story that people can basically quote by heart. And now I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with everything he said, but it was just interesting to change your perspective and to challenge yourself to think differently than what you've just been accustomed to doing. So yeah, David and Goliath, Malcolm Gladwell. Excited to read this one. The next book, very excited about this, is The Love That Split the World. I heard about this book because of Reagan from Peru's Project. I think that's her YouTube channel name, and she discussed this book in more depth than I can, because obviously she read it. The way that she described it, it just seemed so appealing to me, and I really love this cover. To be honest, I think the cover is gorgeous. And this book that Emily Henry wrote, it was a bit difficult to find in my library, so big ups to my mom who helped me out in finding this book. But I am quite excited to read this. Just some of the themes that Reagan mentioned, where it's basically like finding yourself and a little bit of romance, a little bit of magic. I just thought that it sounded really great. So The Love That Split the World, another one that I picked up, and another one that I hopefully will be able to read before I have to return it. Okay, the next book that I have, also dealing with mental health, mental illness, is Out Came the Sun by Marielle Hemingway. And I remember seeing a commercial, I believe, for a Soul Sunday episode or super session, one of the Oprah shows that she has on Sunday mornings. I never watch it because I'm at church when it comes on, but I see the commercials anyway. And she was interviewing Miss Hemingway, and Hemingway was talking about her battle with mental illness, especially considering that in her family there has unfortunately been a lot of cases of mental illness ultimately affecting lives in a really terrible way. And so this is about her making it through that. And I always find other people's stories really inspiring, and so I thought that I would see how that goes. The next one, I know, I can just tell that it's just going to be hilarious, and that book is Paddle Your Own Canoe by Nick Offerman. Now, I love his character Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec, and now I know that he is not the same person. So Nick and Ron are not the same person. However, he is hilarious, period. And so anything that I can do to partake of his comedic energy is well welcomed in my book. That this is one man's fundamentals for delicious living. So what more can you say? Fundamentals for delicious living. Come on, really super pumped about this. Super pumped about this. The next one that I'm really excited about, and I know that I'm just gonna go through this really quickly, is Landline by Rainbow Rowell. She may just be my favorite author. You just get drawn into what she's writing about, which I absolutely love. From what I know, the main character in this has a pretty good relationship with her husband, a happy family, but then things progress and she finds that she's not as close as she used to be, and that she now has to find a way to mend that relationship back again. And she just always does an amazing job with the characters and the storyline and the dialogue and just everything. So I'm just very thrilled for this. I think that I may be the most excited about this. Like a smidge more excited than everything else. But still, yes, that is Landline. The last book is another city guidebook, and that is See San Francisco by Victoria Smith. And what I think, oopsies, what I think is really amazing about this is that the book to me is just so friendly and inviting, and I love seeing the city through the eyes of someone who lives there and has, you know, a real say in the city. And I also know that I'm going to get really inspired by her pictures and I will use that inspiration to develop my Instagram photography skills. So yeah, that is C, San Francisco. Wow, that is all that I have for today. Those are the books that I got from the library. Again, I'm hoping that I will be able to finish everything in these 3 weeks. Woo! But we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope that whoever you are having an amazing day, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!